Tompkins, probably Sam Tompkins. Dan Sargentson should be back. Gelling won't be. So it's kind of riding a lot on. We might have to shift Isa to the centres, and I don't know how it's going to work. I've got to admit, but
will not put someone like a Gregson or a.
Gregson's injured.
Is he injured as well?
Yeah.
Christ. His
season's done. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But George Williams will be the creative spark for us, and we'll see how we go. But I think we're going to win because it makes it even more amazing to win with like the players out.
Oh yeah, but if you get a result, I'll hold my hands up and say that's
the more kids playing to beat Leeds in the side, the more glory.
Exactly. Right.
And of course, I'm not going to tip us to lose.
No, of course you're not. Catalan take on Wakefield down in the south of France on Saturday afternoon. Then, despite their turgid display against the Castleford Tigers, I'm going to go with a home win on this one. I always fancy Catalan at home, to be perfectly honest. It's not often I tip against them when they play in the south of France, and I think they'll definitely have enough to see off. Trin, 30 points to 16. Going for.
I'm on a similar vein to you. I'm going 30 points to 10 just because I saw how abject Wakefield's attack was last week. But what I am wondering is how many Catalan players will be coming back. Because I don't think they'll be able to have a comfortable win if they're running with the same team they ran with last week. I mean, Myler will have a week more fitness back in his legs.
I was surprised,
but they weren't. If they were fitter as a team, they would beat Wakefield very easily because Wakefield did not look the most fit team that I've ever seen last week.
Yes.
If I'm completely honest, they looked tired with an extra man than compared to Wigan.
I think you might see Lucas Albert come back into the squad if he's not injured, is he?
No, I guess he just was taken out the firing line for a game.
I think we might see Lucas Albert come back into the squad this week, and that could have an impact as well.
And play with Myler.
Why not give him that experience? Why not try that? He's better than Bosk isn't Bosky. He's not that guy anymore.
No.
So I suspect that in an effort to try and fix things up creatively, if they're missing Carney, then why not give Lucas Albert a run? It's at home, he's not in the firing line as much. No. This is a Wakefield side that's missing some key forwards, so that might take some pressure off him in terms of being targeted.
What about the Gift? If the Gift's back, he's the defensive.
Well, he's another thing that tightens them right up as well. Yeah. Exactly. So he's another one. If he comes back, then we all know my feelings on Glenn Stewart. So
yes, you want to be him.
I want to be on him. So I'm going to go with a Catalan win.
Okay.
Huddersfield take on St Helens in a game where I just couldn't care less, Mark. To be perfectly honest, it's the first time this season where I felt that way, but gives a shit. That's just fine. Huddersfield, 20 points to 12. Saints, I don't think are clicking offensively enough to justify.
They've got no halves, have they?
To justify a win because they're playing a loose forward and a centre in the halves.
Although they have got their grand final win.
They have got an half back on their books, but he's out on loan at Bradford at the minute. So if they really wanted an half,
they've also got one on loan at Leigh.
Exactly. So they could sort that. Yeah, but I think one or more of them might have been sleeping with one or more of their wives. So that might be why.
I actually think he just mouthed off about ineptitude in the coaching staff, and that wasn't appreciated.
Yeah, no one likes to hear the truth. Yeah. Anyway, Huddersfield, I think the players are going to want to impress the new coach coming in from down under. So based on that, 20 points to 12 in favour of the Giants. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the Giants, 32-26. Although St Helens have seemed to have actually sorted out there.
That's a lot of points.
Although St Helens have seemed to have actually sorted out there. And I don't know what the status of Danny Brough will be, but Huddersfield have shown an ability to perform without him. He started off the bench last week and then got concussed and was taken out at the firing line midway through the second half, but I assume he'll be right to come back in. But yeah, St Helens has sharpened up their defence a bit, actually, haven't they, recently, from when they were conceding almost 30 points a game.
Yeah.
But I've still decided to throw some excitement into people's lives in this game, and I'm seeing in my sort of...
You're a giver, aren't you?
In my Mandela alternate reality, these two teams are going to go at it like... just for fun. Just for funs. Although there is something riding on it.
Gigs down at the
there is something riding on it for St Helens in that they could get that extra home game.
True.
But if Catalan beat Wakefield the day before, I think maybe there'll be a air of resignation in that not being attainable, and fifth place kind of being their place, and maybe that'll filter through. At 32-26 in favour of Huddersfield. Let's have a thriller.
A thriller. Oh, I'm predicting a thriller down at the Menderhose Jungle as Castleford take on Warrington in the final game of the weekend. Going for a slender 2-point victory in favour of the Wolves, Mark. I think, whilst Castleford have definitely got points in them, I think they are coming up against a Warrington side that will be buoyed by the manner of its victory over Salford.
But Warrington didn't play that well.
That's why I've made it a close game.
Warrington didn't play that well, and I think Castleford will take advantage of anything Warrington do wrong much better than Salford did. I also think Chase will be back for this one, so they'll have that going in their favour. So they'll be even better in attack, if anything. And I'm going to throw this one 36-26 in favour of Castleford. I just think there'll be points. I think the weather forecast looks to be improving by the end of next weekend, so there'll be...
Oh no, come on now. Come on now.
So there'll be a drier track, and that'll suit the Castleford free-flowing sort of game that they've got.
Right.
And I think it'll be exciting, entertaining, and I'm going to go with the home side because I think at the moment they are the more exciting and entertaining when it clicks.
There you go.
And I'm betting it clicks.
Fantastic, okay. Championship game of the week then, Mark. What
Only
have you picked
one,
out for us? Well,
Only one to go with. Halifax versus Featherstone.
it means a lot to everybody, doesn't it? This one. It's already, under normal circumstances, this is a closely fought fixture with, it's a passionate derby, isn't it? Not closely fought, but it's a passionate derby.
It wasn't at the Summer Bash.
No.
Which actually kind of makes it even more significant, but the form of the two teams has swung around quite a bit since the Summer Bash, you would argue. I find it hard based on form to go against Featherstone, so I'm going to say Featherstone will win. I think both teams will get plenty of points. The first game this season was a very, very close nail-biter, wasn't it? I think it was 19 points to 20 or something like that, or 21-20 or something in favour of Halifax away from home, and I think it'll be another away victory. I'm going to go Featherstone. I think it'll only be 2 or 4 points, but both teams will score mid to high 20s, 28-24, something like that in favour of Fev.
I'll go for exactly the same, and I've already written Fev +2 there next to my thing, so I tend to agree with you, and that's without even getting my magical crystal out and holding it over the fixture to see which way the crystal spins. So I'm going without any of my usual prediction tools, Mark.
But what'll happen
anti-clockwise is a home result.
Next week, if we get them wrong, I think what that will mean is we were just influenced by an
alternative universe. There's an alternative reality somewhere where I get these right every week. Right, it's Origin, a bit of a dead rubber, but that doesn't take away the passion, Mark. Lots of changes in the New South Wales side as they start to plan for the future. Whether or not that includes Laurie Daly in the coaching role, we don't know. But
it's also a swan song for a couple of players.
Guys like Paul Gallen and people like that.
And then Corey Parker on the other side of the divide. I think Queensland are going to sign off their era, really. I don't think we'll maybe even see Thaiday back next year either, amongst the potential changes. There's got to be question marks about the remaining longevity of a couple of the other players in that team, whether there's a desire to keep going, but there doesn't seem to be any waning in that desire. But I think the players that are leaving the side, it's such a close-knit, unified side, they're going to want to send them off well. I reckon it'll be a 20-odd point win for Queensland in this one. Yeah,
I do too. I think it's too much transition for New South Wales. As good as some of these players like Wade Graham and what have you are going to come in and make their debuts, they're not going to go and get that result. Interesting one for me. Something that I don't nominally. I tend to get behind New South Wales, but for this one I'm getting behind Queensland mostly because if Dean Gagai scores 1 try, he'll tie the record for most tries in an Origin series ever, and if he scores more than 1 try, he'll outrightly hold that record. He'll have scored more tries than anybody else has in a single Origin series.
I think he's got a shot.
He's got a tremendous chance. A tremendous chance. So I'm going to be getting behind the Maroons, despite I just have such a hard time pronouncing Maroon wrong, to be perfectly honest. But still going to get behind him.
I'd love
to see Dean Gagai do that.
I've got an issue with. I've got concerns. Over how it might mentally affect. I think some of these. I think the expectation is some of the younger breed or the newer breed will turn things around for the
Queens, New South Wales. Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to happen with this relentless Queensland machine, so I don't know how that might affect him for next time out, but I hope it doesn't.
Yeah, you'd want to see a competitor.
Next year I want it to be a more seesaw situation.
Yeah, I would agree so. So we've both gone with big wins for Queensland.
Yeah.
On that one, right, that's your Super League pod taken care of for the week. All that remains for us to do is to wrap up the show. Right, so that's Super League pod taken care of for the week. SLP recommends this, Mark. What have you got this week, Mark? What have you got for us?
Well, it looks like you've got a list of stuff noted down, and I've
It's not a list, it's just one thing.
Not really come to it. Prepared. I've got something I want to talk about.
Okay.
But I want you to give your recommendation.
Let me go first.
It's more specific.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to recommend Shipyard IPA. It's an American IPA that I had the pleasure of trying at the weekend. It was £1.50 a bottle in Morrison's, so I thought, can't go wrong. So I bought myself 3 of them and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's brewed in Portland, Maine.
Oh, right, yeah.
So this is the one I was talking to you about on Friday night, so have you ever tried it? And it's fairly unique in a way. A lot of these American IPAs are all canned.
I think I've heard the brand and seen it in it. I think I've had it in a can, though.
Right. It was lovely out of the bottle. Yeah. Very, it had that grapefruity flavour going on. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And did it have that sort of burnt hop edge that a lot of the American beers have? That
it was nice. I don't have as educated a palate as you, but it kind of had a grapefruity burnt taste to it.
It sounds
enjoyable.
Sounds ideal.
It was lovely, so I can heartily recommend Shipyard IPA from Portland, Maine.
Good stuff.
What have you got to talk about, Mark?
Right. So when me and Emma were away the other week, we lived in a house that didn't have a television, didn't have Wi-Fi, and it was
bothy.
It was a house. It was a real house.
I tried to add some Scottish colour,
and it was a strange experience. We listened to the radio quite a bit, or we just sat, together quite a bit.
Staring at the wall.
Well, no, reading and stuff like that.
Yes.
And one of the takeaways we had was to strip back elements of our life a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've decided, one of the things we're doing is trying to have like a vegan/vegetarian day a week.
Wow.
So we don't eat meat.
Okay.
After being a little bit inspired by Mike, who's a vegetarian.
Right.
And talking a little bit about like sustainability and that sort of thing, and how I don't necessarily have a moral objection to killing animals for food, but maybe we overdo it.
Okay.
So we're doing that.
Right.
But the other thing I want to talk about more is we've got a non-TV night a week now.
Have you?
We don't pick the night we're gonna have it.
Right.
It's like not like planned and scheduled, but like we'll sort of say, well, why don't we make tonight our not TV night? So then you can get on with other stuff, basically. Last week we used it to put together finally our wedding album.
Oh, wow.
And order that, which we've been married 9 months now, so, And it just feels like sometimes you'll end up, you'll watch Comedy Central for like 2 hours, not realise that you've wasted 2 hours watching 4 episodes of Friends or Impractical Jokers or something.
Right.
And, 40 minutes of adverts intertwined with all of that.
Yeah.
And it just passes the night away so fast, and you don't connect, you don't get things done, and you don't learn anything new. So that's why we brought in the non-TV night.
Hey, that's
which obviously will never overlap with when either rugby league or the NFL are on TV.
I was going to say, so it's got to be early in the week, hasn't it?
Well, at the moment,
does Monday night count as your non-TV night? If you just put in a podcast we make, do I have to start turning this off now?
No. Well, there'll be times where we can forgo Sundays. Like this Sunday, obviously, was great with the sport, but other Sundays might not have the same sporting entertainment on, and that sort.
I think that's lovely. And I really admire the way you and Emma do stuff like that. I think it's delightful, and it inspires me and makes me feel all warm and Horlicksy inside. So, good stuff, man. I like that.
Well, I'm going to go to Morrison's tomorrow and get some Shipyard if it's on 150.
You fucking want it, mate. It's lush. Yeah, absolutely. Right. The NRL Rookie, Mark. I suggested we talked about a little bit over the text this week about perhaps doing like a this week on the NRL Rookie fixture, but I think we're just going to segue it into the back end of the show,
so I don't have to do another edit. Precisely,
exactly. You've got enough on, but we've both been getting right into watching the Rookie. And it was episodes 3 and 4 for us up in the Northern Hemisphere over the weekend. So episode 3, the lads had a canoeing and climbing challenge to cope with first of all, which looked in beautiful scenery, if not ridiculously hot up in Queensland, and then they took on a University of Queensland side in their game this week. It was interesting to see